Even this one I have briefed you, right, what to do. So now you are sure what to do, right? You can choose between what do you call that, viewpoint oriented analysis, viewpoint oriented analysis, analysis, or you can go for method based. Okay, method based analysis, methodology based analysis. Okay, so methodology based analysis we have two. Okay, structured or data flow. Okay, and the other one is OOA, object oriented analysis. So now, what I ask you to choose, not I ask lah, but which one is suitable for your project? Either this one or obviously this one. Only this two. Okay, you can ignore this. Okay, because I don't think you're going to do structured or data flow based. Okay, under the method. Because you know what? Nowadays everything is object oriented environment, especially when you are proposing a mobile application. Obviously, you have to go for OOA analysis. Or else you can still go with a viewpoints based analysis, which is more to stakeholders, based analysis. So then I want you to have to remember for this part, I want to, okay, explanation on the implementation, explanation on the implementation, first. Then number 2 is explanation on the implementation. Number 2 is justification why choosing this approach or this analysis. Okay, justification why this approach. So basically this is requirements, analysis, approach. Okay, so requirement analysis approach, you can go for viewpoint oriented analysis or method based. Under method based you have to specify which one you go for. After you choose, you identify, your explanation must cover 2 things. Explanation on the implementation, how you actually do the analysis, and then justification why you choose this approach. That's all I want. Okay, I want in paragraph form, not suitable to be given point form for this. Okay, so conflict, I don't proceed first. We haven't touched this topic in lecture. So now let's go back to our report. Okay, so today we will I will brief you more on the report. Okay, so let's see the report there. So today your turn to present to me what? You all remember? Practical task only need to present. The report only will be marked when you submit. Okay, so no checking now. Okay, but this one yes, I want to check. Okay, so yeah, today can you please briefly present in your group the elicitation techniques that you have chosen. Okay, the elicitation technique. If you have done your questionnaire and your interview questions, just let me to glance through. Okay, can or not? Every group, just show me your questionnaire and interview questions if you have done. But try to present to me your elicitation technique. What are the techniques you have identified? Explain how you are going to implement the technique and see whether it's specific or not. You explain for the project clearly or not. Okay, if any feedback I'll let you know, you can go and make some changes. Okay. Okay, then today I also want to ask you to proceed with, okay, this one all I have briefed. Any questions? Still not sure anything? Because last week I remember I briefed you this part. Class diagram, structure, what do you call that, structure chart, okay, and then dependency, assumptions, and also constraints. Any questions? Constraints, dependency, assumption. Assume that you're really working on the project. What kind of constraints are you facing? What are the limitations you are facing in your project? Then assumptions, yes. If there is anything that not clear, you really don't know what is the situation now. So your project maybe you will be only execute or implement in let's say 3 months time, 4 months time. So you are not sure, you cannot clarify something now. You can always put them under assumption. Okay. You can put them under assumption. What is dependency? Yeah, in your project, if you can't proceed due to dependency, for example, some of your tasks depending on some resources, you have to wait for you to get the hardware or software you have ordered, or you have just renewed the license, for example. You have recently renewed the license and you haven't get the approval, or you have purchased a new software, a new tool or a new device or whatever, which you're going to use in your project, and you are not sure when this will be ready. So you can make assumption, okay, or that is a part of assumption. Okay, you can also mention this in your project, saying that this particular task depending on this device purchase, or this particular is waiting for something to be completed first, or you are waiting for a skill. You don't have such skill in your project team. You are actually expecting your higher management to employ or outsource. So you cannot proceed for, that particular task cannot be proceeded, okay, by your team. You are depending on another source. Then you can mention in your project. Whatever dependency that you notice in your project can mention under the dependency. It can be a skill dependency, task dependency, resource dependency like lab or environment, or maybe software hardware dependency, anything. Okay? Even your client, for example, this system need to be integrated with another system. So your development is actually depending on another systems. Okay? What do you call that? Architecture and so on. Then you can also mention under dependency. Whatever kind of dependency, please state it under dependency. Okay, this is what I briefed you last week. Okay, today you have to proceed with some more diagrams. Okay. So external interface requirement. External interface requirement. Functional external interface requirement I cover next class. I don't want you to do 3.1 first. Let me explain to you what I mean by external interface requirement by next week. For now, you can start with functional requirement. Okay, how to do functional requirement? Okay, that's what I'm going to cover today. Okay, right? Every requirement has to have requirement ID. You have to have a unique requirement ID. When you write, you just simply write the system shall, the system should, blah blah blah. But then in real documentation, every requirement has a unique ID. So that when you refer to the requirement, you don't say the requirement, but you just mention the requirement ID. Okay, how to do it? I prefer you come up with this structure, but not necessary to put it in table. It's up to you. You don't like to put in table, then only. But make sure the structure you follow the same. Okay? So what you have to do, first of all, you have to come up with this number. This all the modules. All the modules you have. All the modules. Then these are the roles. Okay, the roles are that responsible for the module. Okay. Then comes your requirements. Requirements. Obviously, this is functional requirement. Okay, this is functional requirement. So what I want you to do is, identify all the modules. For example, module 1, accounts management. Or account management module. Account management module. So let's say for account management module, you have 3 different people. They will have 3 different types of accounts. User account, customer account, then you have staff, and then you have admin. So you can start explaining. Okay, for example, 1.1. What's the first role? Let's say the first role is admin account. Then 1.2, you have, let's say, another role called staff account. Then 1.3, you have your customers account. Admin, administrator, staff, and customer. Okay. So you have 3 different roles, right? Now your ID, requirement ID, you can just use this technique. First requirement, okay, the system, okay, shall allow the admin, okay, blah 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 blah. Then 1.1.2, the system shall allow blah 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 blah. Okay.
So means the requirement is 3 rows share extend requirement.
No. Right. Okay? Because you know what? If same requirement, then you can put them together. When I give different numbering, what I'm trying to say is they are different. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So here. Then 1.2 is star, for example. Okay? So the system shall allow the staff to do what? Okay? If you have more than one, okay, sorry, this is 1.1, sorry, 1.2.1, 1.2.2. Then the third one, let's say 1.3, right? So 1.3.1, the system shall allow this, let's say, customer. The system shall allow the customer to register. To register, blah blah blah. Okay? You understand what am I doing? Why I want you to, every module, I want you to separate the roles. You know why? The requirements sometimes are different role, different requirement. Understand or not? Like staff are maybe more to administrator, while customer they can perform a lot of functions. But every module, you might have more than one role. So don't overlook any role. When you overlook the role, your requirements will be missing. You get what I mean? Sometimes students are always not sometimes. Most of the time I will have groups where student create a module. In the module, student only talk about customers. They totally overlook the admin requirements. So for example, they say request for something or send feedback to the send product feedback to the the admin. Okay, but then they don't mention what happened after that. The request is approved or cancelled by the admin. What happened to the feedback? Can be replied by the admin or not? Nothing. They don't mention anything about it. Why? Because they skip some of the roles. So that's why I introduced this way. I want every module, right? Every module, I want you to identify all the possible roles. Okay, now tell me, do you think every module you will have all the roles? Every module you will have all the roles? Or some module maybe only one role?
Yeah.
Yes. So that's why you have to analyze first. Analyze if the role involved or not. If the role doesn't involve, you can skip. You understand?
Yeah.
So make sure you put the numbering accordingly. So you see, when the role is first you start with the module 1. So this module 1.0. So the first role 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. Next module will be 2.0. 2.1, 2.2. If you have another one, 2.3. Then the requirement will follow that 1.1. So I know this requirement is for admin. When I see 1.1 means I know admin. When I see 1.2, I know this is staff. You know, respective numbering. So easier for me to read your requirements. Missing requirement, conflicting requirement, you will be losing marks. So make sure your requirements are clear. No missing requirement. Okay, no clashing or conflicting requirement. Like one place you mention something, and then the other place you are mentioning something which is clashing with the other requirement. So not that one will affect your requirement. Okay, that's about functional requirement. Okay, after you are very clear of your functional requirement, what you can do now? Tell me. You know the requirements clearly. You have already come up with this table, or you can do it in table form or listing form. Listing means no need to do the outline of the table. I still don't mind if you don't do the table, because some students don't like to put table because it goes to multi lines. So you prefer like list down, but the numbering must hold. Table is not compulsory. You don't have to tabulate, but you must make sure you follow the numbering. I just want the numbering. Okay, now how do you write the requirement? How do you write the requirement? Always remember the requirement must have proper terms. The system, always the system. We write from the point of our user, right? The system shall allow. Okay, this shall can be replaced with what are the other words?
Must.
Allow or whatever words are can. Must, should. Shall is same like must, right? Okay? No choice, must do. Then should means encouraged to do that. As a user, you are encouraged to do that way. Okay, but you still can do the other way. But you are encouraged to do that way. Then the last one is may, can. Okay, may, can is optional. You are saying that it is optional. Okay, so must have this word. Allow the role. Allow the role. Your role. What is the role? For example, what do you call that? Customer. Okay, staff. And me. Okay, if you put user, allow Rama. User, allow Rama. What do you think?
Not
If you put
specific.
user, I always see user. That's the part where I feel like wow.
Not specific.
Yeah, not specific. When you say user, right, everyone is the user of the system. Everyone, whoever got access to the system will be user of the system. So are you trying to say that all? If all, then okay. If all, then okay for me. If all of them can do means, then you can just use user. But not all. Let's say only two of them or only one of them can do. They're not suitable to put user. You understand or not? User is a very general term. You shouldn't have any general term which not clear. No clarity, not clear. You understand? All this will be assessed because this is requirement course. Very important how to write requirement, how to prepare requirement document. Clear? So make sure the role you mentioned. Then of course you continue to what? The system shall allow the role, the user to do what? Register, to what? If the system is automated, then what happens? The system shall allow. Straight away what the system will do. So that's the system's point of view, right? So some functions, no user involvement. No, not necessary for the user to go and operate the system. The system is automated. It will based on the time, periodic maybe, okay? Or it is based on something, it can react itself. Then the system shall blah 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 blah. No allowed who. Okay? So here the user will be system itself. Okay, so the system itself. Do what? Here automated function, the system itself, how it responds. Clear, right? Like sometimes you see, you don't need a manager to go and get the report. Some systems are automated to create monthly report and email. Directly will be generated and email automatic. That's why you see always this is a machine generated or system generated message. The email, the report generated automatically by the system and sent end of the month every month. So that kind of functions are no one involved, no user involved. Okay, the system directly perform. Clear? So function requirement, don't forget, I want all the modules, I want every module, all the roles, I want all the requirements. Clear? No missing requirement. When you do like this, right, you won't skip any requirement. You will try to think carefully, is there any requirement missed for each role? That's why you have to have the ID, unique ID. 1.0, 1.1, 1.1.1. So here 1.2 means 1.2.1. Then your next module going to be 2.0. So your first role will be 2.1, 2.1.1. Okay? Yeah? Okay, appointing and use this method. Okay, so that you won't miss any requirement. Some users they create some students they create their own ID for requirement. Like FR 1.0. Okay, also no problem. I don't really, I just want to make sure the numbering is clear like this. But you want to have your own style, I don't know. Okay? Okay, next use case diagram. Now tell me, how many use case diagram do you draw? So because use case can go so many levels. So how many use case diagram do you draw? What is the level of use case diagram required? Do you have to show the use case for the overall system? Or do you have to show me the use case for every module? Or you have to go and take every function and break down the steps? Show me the use case. So which one do you do? Use case, which level do you go for?
Module. Every
I only want case, use case. Okay, so the use case, as you can see here, okay, I want description system for modules. After you can main use case, then what do you call that? So I want one main use case, okay. This is for the overall system. Overall system means you show all the modules. So one use case diagram. Remember the one I have in my lecture notes example? You have your use case, right? Module 1, Module 2, Module 3, Module 4, Module 5. Module 1, Module 2, Module 3, Module 4, Module 5 or whatever. Then the actor, let's say one actor only got access to Module 3 and Module 4 and Module 5. The other actor can perform Module 1. Then maybe inheritance or whatever, the other actor, okay, this one, and then this one can perform this one, for example. Something like that. Just an example, just giving an example, okay. So you show all the actors and all the modules. Don't break down first. Don't break down the modules. So for example, manage account, manage booking, something like that, okay. So we have the main function, main modules, okay. And this is the system title. This is system, okay, system title. So this is called main use case, main use case. Main use case. So if you have 5 modules, then you will see 5 use cases only. Don't break down. Okay, if you have 3 modules, then 3 use cases only. Is that clear? So that is one use case. Do you have to give me the description table for this? I don't want use case description table for this. I don't want. For main use case, I don't want description table. No need. Clear? Yes. Okay, now I don't want to erase first. Okay. Now next, I want module use case. For the module use case, every use case class. For module use case, every module individual task. This one can do together or can ask the leader to do. Okay, or leader can assign someone to do. Okay, you have to break down equally. So make sure someone do this or sit together and come up with a module use case, main use case first, all together. Maybe today class you can do. After you identify the main use case, but you have to prepare this table, then only do this. Okay, this is natural language. This is diagram. Same thing. So here got one requirement. Later I don't see that requirement in your module. Perfect marks. Okay, so must be consistent. This two. Okay. Then next, come up with the module use case. One use case every module. Every module. So what you do, you take this module 1, right? You break down into all the functions, main functions. You come up with one use case. So you say this one, module 1 only got one actor, right? Only one actor. So there is one actor only here. Suddenly 2 actor wrong. Because I see module 1, no one else can do. Only this one perform. So only one actor. You understand or not? So this is the module title. Module title, then you can break down what any function include, extends or whatever, everything you show. Okay? Then include, extends, this one, another one. I show everything. This is module use case. You get what I mean? So this is considered functional requirement ready. Functional requirement ready. You understand or not? Each of this considered functions ready. Because your module, when you break down, become all the functions. Agree with me? So all the main functions must be shown clearly. If let's say here for this module I see 10 functions. When I come to this module, I only see 6 functions. Where are the 4 functions? Inconsistent. You understand? This is how I check. I don't really, I cannot simply say wrong, right. But I can check your work whether you have done accordingly or not. So when you come up with this functional requirement table, you have to present this functional requirement in the use case diagram. Okay, now how many description table you prepare? How many description table you prepare? Anyone? One module, one description table enough. Because that is because exam, you know what? When the actor communicate with the main functions, this is considered main function, This one all sub function. So this one main function. by right, each main function you can come up with one description table. Description table by right. Every this one also another description table. Every functions you can come up with description table. I mean the main function, not the sub only. But in exam, if I ask you to do so, you won't have enough time. So exam, what I do, I always pick one main function which I find quite interesting. Just do the description table for that function. You get it right? So you show me all the steps, how the function is performed. Because now the function is still level 1 one. So the function got a lot of steps. So in your description table, you tell me, you explain the steps actor perform and what the system responds. Correct, Aman? That's how you do, and all the alternative flow for every step. So now, I still won't ask you to do for every function. If you find like very easy, simple login function, nothing much, you can skip, I don't mind. But I want you to try to give me one table for every main function. One table each. One table each for main function. So every individual task, listen, every individual task, you see, your main use case got 5 modules because you have 5 students, for example. Let's say 5 students. So every student will come up with a use case description table. Okay? Because you have, we will come up with module use case first. You will draw module use case by your own individual task. You got your individual mark for that. If you have mistakes, that mistake won't affect your friend. Only affect your individual marks. So this part individual. Okay? So what do you have to do? You come out with your individual use case for your module, use case diagram. You show every single break down the module. Show me every main function that you have mentioned in your requirements. Use include extends wherever appropriate. After complete, you see the actor is directly communicate with all the main use case, right? Any main use case that you find got a lot of steps, I want description table for each of them. One table for each of them. If let's say one of the function, just very simple, cancel, just one click or 2 click can cancel. Okay, nothing much, you don't want to show, then up to you. But if you find like more than 3 or 4 steps, then better show me the description table. Because sometimes I find very simple and you go and draw the whole table, pity you. So you can skip, I allow you to skip some. But if really have some steps, then better show, don't skip. Okay, because I need to understand how actually the function is performed. Like for example, the other day you see library system we discussed yesterday. Okay, it is actually scan the barcode, okay, using the device. If you don't really give me the description table, I don't really understand how the booking is performed. Reservation, sorry. The loan is performed, the reservation, the borrowing is performed. Because it's using a device like yours. You have to go to the device and you have to scan your book one by one to borrow, right? So the steps will explain everything. So that's why you have to show me a proper description table. Clear? And this is individual task. So guys, you guys are actually during my lab time can sit together, identify all the modules, can do this together. You guys can do this one together. Then this one can do by own. So in your report later, class rep, group leader can collect everything and put accordingly. Module 1 from each student. Put everything and beside put the name of the student. So in case I will take down during your presentation somehow. You have to present this. So final presentation I will take down. Okay, this module done by this student. But then I just want another better to state the name in case anything I can go and double check. Okay, just put beside the module use case. Or you don't want to put here, you don't want to mess up the, you can provide a table. You can provide a table, every module handled by who? Enough. So you don't have to do anything on the diagram. Just give me a table saying that what are the modules and what are the modules and who are the person in charge. Okay, who is the person in charge for each module. Okay, can or not? Okay, that's all for the use case diagram. Okay, do until that first. Do this two first. I don't want to give you so much in one day. Then so do this one. Next class I give you this and this. Next class this and this. For your information, your state chart diagram is for individual task. This one also individual. This one also individual. This requirement also individual. I forgot to mention. Every module, the requirement written by the student in charge. Okay. Then, as a group, you have to compile all together in one section. Okay, or one table. Up to you. Okay. So this one also individual. Individual. This one actually all individual. All individual. Okay, fully individual. Clear? So clear what you have to do for not this way. I told you right? Yes.
About the use case diagram, right? First we have to create the main use case first, and only we have to create individual case for.
Yeah. Now you have identified the modules for each of you, right?
Okay.
Now how many modules you have?
5.
5. But how many members you have? 5. That's just nice.
So total 6. Total 6 use
Yes,
cases.
very good. I always ask my last question, how many use case every team has to draw? So actually number of members plus one main use case. Very good. Okay, but the table for the main use case, no table. Okay, for the module use case, you have to draw the tables based on the main use case you have in your table. Sorry, in your diagram. Sorry. Okay, clear right what I mean? Not clear, you can always ask me. No worries. Just double check with me before you proceed. There. Wow, what happened? Just 24 minutes to go. Okay, so just try to update yourself to your friends. Okay, otherwise you don't know what to do for your individual. Today for individual tasks, you have to know what you have to do. Okay, what I wanted to say is yeah, again, first identify all the modules, but don't start with this first. Don't start with the use case. Try to identify all the modules and then ask every student to go back and come up with their roles and requirement for their module. Then don't let down because individual you don't bother. It's a group work at the end. Correct or not? So all of you sit together and go through each and every module. Try to help each other. So try to sit together and go through each module. As a group, try to help if your friend has missed any functions. I don't want you to be so selfish. Try to sit together and go through all the functions as a group. If your friend has missed any function in the table, try to highlight. You can discuss and clarify. Then only let the student to do their own use case diagram. Otherwise, you don't have to help. Ask everyone to do their own use case diagram based on the requirement. But this table are very important. Not necessary to be table, but this content is very, very important. Sit together, ask everyone. Today you can decide what are the modules everyone handle. You can ask them to go back and come up with a requirement table. So everyone completed meeting again. Then try to go through each module, see whether your friend has identified each and every function. If any missing function, or you see like no, like some two modules are not properly related, not integrated, then you have to find how come this module is not really related to this module. So try to solve all these issues, then only let everyone to draw their use case diagram. Clear? And must use visual paradigm because I mentioned the tool in the first paragraph. So not other tools are allowed. You find some tools you find better than maybe this. But visual paradigm not bad. I find it's quite stable. Okay, so in case if you find the tool is not good enough, but you still have to draw using the tool for assignments. No choice. Okay, it is mentioned in the prospect. Must learn and apply the tool. Okay, apply how to use the tool. Apply on your assignment. So your state chart don't do first. I explain next class. Your external also I explain next class. Okay, I don't want you to do now this two. This two will be covered next class. Is that okay? Clear? Okay, now can I go one by, I have 15 minutes. I give every group 3 minutes. Can every group show me your elicitation techniques? Get ready now? Elicitation techniques. Just highlight all the important. You know what you have written, right? No worries, just sit and present. Now no need to follow the formal order. Okay, later final presentation normally we follow. Now just present. Okay. So highlight all the important points how you do it. So you for the observation you did this observation. Okay, question. So how you actually prepare the questions and in what form you online form. How you distribute the questions? Yeah, all internet, all of them. Then you must remove from here. Okay, then the other thing, since you have three different types, totally different types of users, how you prepare the questions? Do you prepare three different sets? Also need to highlight it. You got three types. What I suggest, you see what you covered here. What are the questions you covered here? What kind of questions have been covered here? Based on this, you decide who you're going to really conduct because you have done a lot of things. You don't need to change too much. So just focus on one category. Of course, if you even students and administrative staff, two different categories. So the questions cannot be the same. You can ask a lot of things as a user from students. You cannot ask the same question to the administrative staff. So that is question. So okay, then what's the other technique? Let's see which one can do that. Okay, now see overlapping, because you conduct both techniques with all three of them. Okay, so one is only too much of time. The second interview is suitable for students. How many students? Population? What is the population of staff? Do you know how many students in class? 40,000, 30,000 plus, 30,000 plus. Even the persona you have stated, then the school, then you focus on my study on students to interview the school, and then students to president. So your method just slightly modify that questions must be only for bus driver or administrator. But do you ask exactly the same questions to bus driver administrative staff? I'm very sure bus driver they have their own problems, so we have some questions specifically for bus driver. You still need to make some changes. Okay, but this what you call that? Interview will focus on bus drivers, so different sets of questions. Administrative staff, different sets of questions. The questionnaire only for students. Only for students. So here one set of questionnaire and it's only targeting students. And very suitable because students are pretty big group. Not suitable to conduct interviews. How many staff are going to select if you want to conduct interviews? Open-ended means open-ended still can show examples, but you know sometimes the questions are not prepared, not planned. That one you cannot think now, right? Because based on the answers you will ask some questions. That one you don't need to do. Okay, but open-ended now your participant will change and your target one. Okay, good. Okay, otherwise no change. So just make sure one more observation. So yeah, so observation. Then the observation for
identify their frustration points that are not reflected in the questionnaire.
Observation is real.
Should we include gamification? Because currently we don't really have this training.
Do you have that covered in your functional requirement?
Yes, we have.
Then they are your user as well. Okay. Did you mention whether you go for passive or active? So you have to also mention that you are allowed to conduct active observation. Active means you interrupt, you talk to them while observing. No means you just make sure you highlight this passive observation. Okay, thought active. How you come back
有没有做 implementation 的东西？就是这边 methodology
还有
是要讲
什么空空啊？因为我
啊，这个 implementation 是什么意思？这个叫空空，这个是叫
这个一个这个还没有写，
implement 什么？记得
是 for OA 的，然后 explain 了
是 oriented。
哦，这 oriented analysis 就是你跟着那一个第171页，你的那个 lecture 呢，第3课，
哦，它 implement 就是要写这些。
就你 base 读那个来写，然后你这样子 implement 进去，你要给他一个 example 这
叫
样。
implement 什么？
就你的 OA 是讲 implement
讲
去你
应用在我
system，你可以 base 读这一个 chapter 2。
Okay, I can see quite good effort. Okay, just observation
第几页？
your president target on 1B, see which one is the
这
big
个
number.
107页，
Then number two, the other two category of people you just
最老师是有讲，
focus on interview. Okay?
如果你选这个的话，如果你是选Weekk05 SRE 就不一样。
就是如果两个就选一个吧，不是两个都要做。
啊，如果做另外一个就
Yeah, you are encouraged to write in paragraph or discussion.
after
So
Miss
the question currently focus on who? Just nice. You're going to change it to student right now. To just nice. You should remove all the questions related to bus drivers or administration. Okay, this is personal. Huh? Notice many open-ended questions. So how are you going to analyze this data? Try to reduce open-ended questions because you have to analyze this very difficult. Because we don't have still haven't that good AI-based analysis to really come up with a conclusion what you will do with it. If it's like you strongly agree, disagree, agree, then easier for you to assess, analyze, and come up with a conclusion. This survey what you understand. So try to reduce. Then it's better, or you can just go for yes no answer, or you can go for high, low, moderate. That kind of questions, which is easy for you to analyze. Try to reduce number of open ended. Recently, I noticed the monorail, they have their survey, right? Saying that, do you find the we can display in the train.
那个什么 limitation 之类的东西啊。
有这个 Sam 写的，
啊，Sam 写的，我不要看 Sam 了 I don't want Sam 不一样。没有看笑。
圣经的是 Part 1。
我那个是 Part 几 Illustration 我做了 Question A 做了 Question A Question Interview Question 做了 Requirement Analysis Approach
剩下的
哦，那我记录是我记录东西我自己看不懂。
Yeah, me.
Okay.
Okay.
So how many techniques you have? Here.
5.
5 techniques also. Okay. Take one technique. So can you brief? Interview who's the participant? Target. Oh, what's your first technique? Start from first technique. Okay, quickly come go through first technique, who did, and what's the target? What's the target? So how are you planning to conduct?
That's the target participant. Then we will conduct the questionnaire.
Oh, who's the yours is clinic, right?
Yes.
Who's your target participant for questionnaire? Administrator.
Yeah, the highlighter.
Oh, so many people. Okay, questionnaire, right? Okay, one thing, questionnaire will have a list of questions. If you have so many different target, right, your questions will be general for all of them. Some questions I cannot ask patients, I can only ask the doctors. More to diagnosis or whatever. Some questions I cannot ask the doctor because they are the owner of the clinic. I can only ask the the patients for like customers or patients, so that I can understand them better. Okay, so questionnaire usually target one category. If you want to have 2 different targets, then you have to have 2 sets of questions, which got no time right now. So target 1, and then how to select which one to choose. Always go for the biggest group. Questionnaire always, when you find like so many, like see, TAL usually got 30,000 students, you can conduct interview or not. How many